Welcome, delegates. Welcome to the 2019 Biennial Convention of the Democratic Socialists of America.
One, we are requesting that everyone use ASL applause. So everyone can demonstrate with me? Get some joy in those hands? Yes, fantastic. In addition to that, we do have a quiet and moderate room on the Piedmont floor that are accessible on these elevators. The moderate room is Piedmont 7. It will have a soundless stream of the proceedings in here. The quiet room is Piedmont 8. It will be completely quiet with no live stream. In addition to that, we have a chest feeding room on Ainsley 7.
In just the last 2 months, here's a handful of victories. Middle Tennessee kicked the uniformed police contingent and information table out of Nashville Pride. We're not interested in losing. We're not interested in performing our politics. We're here to win, and at a grand scale. We want to transform society.
My name is John Lashley. My pronouns are he and him. My chapter is Silicon Valley DSA. Am I recognized?
Yes.
Okay. The reason I raise the objection, the point of personal privilege affecting the entire assembly, is we're not assembled. All of our delegates have the right to attend the assembly, and their right is presently being infringed because of the dilatory nature. We were not able to give voting cards early this morning. Some people couldn't even register until after breakfast opens. So people were getting ready really late. We've read several reports that are not relating to business, and I think we can give our delegate chairs some time to get the voting cards. You may have a quorum or not, but that's not the basis of the objection. The objection is you're infringing on the right of our delegate chairs to attend the meeting. And if you want to suspend that rule, then you need to suspend it through Robert's rules, which we're under right now.
Hey, point of privilege. Can all delegates use a microphone when doing these things? If you can get near a microphone, it's really unfair to people who can't hear you when you're yelling these things out. Thank you.
Point of privilege.
I am not a parliamentarian, so.
Before we move on to, sorry, this is like way high. Before we move on to the next discussion, I would like the body to take a minute to do a land acknowledgement. Okay, so my name is Bobby Jo Chavarria. I am she, her, hers from the Inland Empire of California. I am Native American, but I do not know my tribe. I do not know my language. I only know that my family has been in California and Arizona for the 500 years of oppression. The acknowledgement here, I am not native to Atlanta, so I don't know the indigenous folks who have been lost, colonized, but probably are still here also not knowing their history. But I would like to acknowledge our history as a country. So to open, I humbly make a land acknowledgement. I would like to recognize and acknowledge the indigenous people of this land. If anyone is familiar with that, please share with the team, the leadership team, so that we can properly acknowledge them. While a land acknowledgement is not enough, it is an important social justice and decolonial practice that promotes indigenous visibility and a reminder that we are settled indigenous land. Let this land acknowledgement be an opening for all of us to contemplate a way to join in decolonial and indigenous movements for sovereignty and self-determination. Thank you for your time.
And what I've learned as a Southern organizer is that Southern people are practical people, and that black people are naturally socialists. I rent out my room. I have a roommate, and I rent out my room. And this young lady is always, she just has so, She has a lot of drama going on. It's one of the reasons I just got here in time today. She has a lot of drama going on. There's always a reason that she can't pay her rent, that she's going to be late on her rent. So capitalism tells me that as a landlord, I need to put her out. Because everything in capitalism, including people, are disposable. But I had to have a conversation with myself this morning and say, I'm a socialist. And this young lady, who is the daughter of a pimp and a sex worker, both of her parents have been on drugs, is now in a PhD program at Georgia State University. And she's studying black habitus and imposter theory syndrome, and she is so necessary to this academy. There is no other voice like hers in this academy. She was going to take her comps, and she was really worried about it. And I said, everything that you haven't studied, you've already lived. And so you are valuable. So I can't discard her. We're going to have to work out this rent situation, but I can't discard her.
Reactionary forces around the globe are laying the conditions for eco-apartheid, in which working class and racialized people suffer the worst consequences of climate chaos, and the wealthy band together to protect themselves. ICE and Border Patrol is right-wing climate policy, as is Fortress Europe.
Could you all give one more round of ASL applause for our fantastic speakers? We are so lucky to have you in the socialist movement.
The first thing that we have to talk about is accessibility. We have a lot of disabled comrades, and a lot of those are invisible disabilities. You don't know who it is that is having a more difficult time navigating this space, and this space was not created with all of their needs in mind. So it's up to us to modify that space to make sure that everybody is able to move in the ways that they need to move. What this means is that first of all, in this room, I see that no one's clapping for me. It could be because I'm not engaging, but it also is because everyone's doing this. And that's really important, because those loud bursts of noise, even though this is a noisy space, when we can do something like reducing that, that's really important. So please don't clap, shoot up these. And additionally with the noise issue, like avoid hissing, avoid waving banners, right? Because there's all sorts of things. If you don't know what to do, show up these, right? I'm sure there's lots of ways that we can communicate to each other without needing to rely on something that's going to hurt somebody else. We have quiet rooms that are available. There's a range of options of these, right? On Piedmont floor, on 7, there's one that has video but no sound, if you still want to be able to observe the convention, but the sound is an issue. There's also on Piedmont 8, a completely quiet room. One thing to note there, please don't go into that space with anything that's like an aggressive scent, for instance, right? Because that's going to be difficult for people. And whether, perfumes or anything like that. So in addition to this collective security, we need to be working on consent, right? The principle of collective security is we don't want to put people in stressful situations that they don't consent to, right? And we have to be accountable to each other that our actions might have negative consequences for other people. You have to have your credentials at all time. We're not trying to be jerks, but there are right-wing infiltrators who are trying to get in here, and the way that you enable us to keep them out is by making sure it's very easy for all the marshals to see those. Don't really talk to anybody who doesn't have a credential, especially if they claim to be from the press. You have no idea who that person is. Please do not talk to anybody who identifies themselves as a member of the press without having credentials. Don't talk to cops. Don't talk to MAGA assholes. We're almost there. But thank you. We are going to be visited tomorrow by some MAGA protesters. Is there anybody here who's done abortion clinic escort work? Awesome. It's a very similar operation to that, right? With abortion clinic escort work, you don't want to engage with the MAGAs. You don't want to engage with them at all, because the priority is getting people in and out safely without them being harassed by anybody. So by you engaging with them, you are putting danger and stress on your comrades who didn't consent to that. And by all means, don't talk to cops if there are cops there for any reason at all, right? And if you do see someone talking to cops, let the marshals know.
It's just a reminder that we do have quite a bit of press here. They are by and large in a designated press area and in a press room, but just keep in mind that this event is in all actuality quite public. We are live streaming. Press are here. We are before the world, and we want to put the foot of socialism forward, in the best way possible and create more socialists.
Everyone, could I see your voting placards if you've got them? Okay, excellent. Thank you. So with that, everyone, we're going to start voting. So let's take a deep breath.
So point of clarification in that the chair gave a report. There was a verbal second from the audience on the report of which was given. And then there was a motion for an amendment to that. What are we actually talking about at this point, and then what is the vote going to be?
Thank you.
We need to be very clear about the work that we are trying to do. It is important.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, so think of Robert's rules like it's a flow chart. We heard the report from the chair. It got a second. Then, because it got a second, the motion to amend is in order. And so now we are talking about the amendment to the roster. So the amendment to the committee report.
Hi, comrades. My name is Keith. I use he or they, and this is Abby. We are co-chairs from the East Bay chapter of DSA. There's an assumption of bad faith here. There's an assumption of bad faith in the voters that they all voted 100% factionally. There's an assumption in bad faith in the elected leaders saying that they had some kind of factional conspiracy. There's no evidence for either of those assertions. It's really important to our democracy we don't assume bad faith in our comrades.
Yeah, so voting yes
upholds the delegates.
No. So voting yes means that you want the substitute 6 delegates to be seated instead of the delegation that is outlined in the Credentials Committee report.
Thank you.
Does that make sense? No. Okay, let me just clarify. Voting yes means that you are supporting the challenge to the East Bay delegation. So you want the 6 substitute delegates to be seated instead of the delegation that's outlined in the Credentials report. Voting no means you're upholding what is in the Credentials Committee report.
Thank you.
Does that make sense to folks? Yes. Thumbs up? Okay. All right, so all those in favor of the amendment to seat the 6 other delegates, please raise your placards. All opposed, please raise your placards. Okay, the noes have it, and the East Bay delegation in the report is going through.
Madam Chair, now you have to vote on the report.
Okay, so now that we've taken up one of the amendments, are there any further amendments to the roster?
Within a certain...
Oh, you had a challenge during a certain period of time, so there were only 2 that were in order. And so is there any further debate on the Credentials Committee report?
Point of privilege.
Wow.
Can I reiterate that we, for the sake of our comrades who have sensory issues, refrain from hissing, loudly shouting out your opinion on a vote, or waving banners and signs that reflect your vote in front of people?
Yes,
Thank
absolutely.
you.
Thank you. Okay, so now is there any further debate on the Credentials Committee report? Sorry, what's your name and
My name is Trey. I use they, them, and he, him pronouns. I'm from Memphis. Thank you for asking. Nice to meet you. Sorry.
Nice to meet you.
I had a question. So, Nick? Jack? What is his name? Or what is their name? Nick J. They were elected as an at-large delegate before they resigned. Is that correct?
No.
No? Okay, then never mind.
Okay, to all 1,057 of my fellow comrade delegates, hooray, we are now seated in the highest decision-making body of the Democratic Socialists of America, and now we're going to move on to the resolutions and amendments committee.
Very brief point of information. If you are using a microphone, talk into it directly like I am right now, and do not wave your face back and forth because people cannot hear you. That is all.
Okay, awesome. Thank you for the pointer. Okay, so now we are going to move into adopting the convention rules. These are listed on the website. Is there any debate on well, first, can I get a motion to adopt the rules?
So moved.
Okay, so I've heard it's been moved. Is there a second?
No, objection.
All right, there's an objection from a place where I don't remember where that came from.
I move to amend the proposed convention rule 2D13 to strike the words ranked choice from the second sentence and replace them with the word single transferable vote.
I have a quick question. Do you want to amend the rules, or do you want to object from the rules?
Sorry, my objection was that I was trying to move to amend.
Okay, yep.
Sorry.
Okay, so
Sorry.
we'll take that in just one moment. So I've heard a motion to adopt the rules. Is there a second? Okay, great. So now please state your name, your pronouns, and your chapter, and go ahead with your amendment.
Once again, I move to amend proposed convention rule 2D13 to strike the words ranked choice from the second sentence and replace them with the word single transferable vote.
It is not debatable. So we're going to, does it require a second? No. Okay, so there's been a motion to object to the consideration of the question. It is not debatable, so you don't get to speak to it. Yes, point of information, name, chapter, pronouns.
My name is Sam Lewis. He, him. I'm from the New York City DSA chapter. I was one of the members of the election subcommittee. I just want to make a factual correction, I guess.
Sorry, that's not a point of information.
Sorry.
So a point of information is a clarifying question.
Okay.
If you would like to speak against the amendment, you may do that, if you want to do that. Is that what you...
Would I do that right now?
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay.
Clarifying question.
Sorry, what was that?
Clarifying
I can't... Can you get to the mic? I can't hear you.
I have a question for clarification.
Yes, what is your clarifying question?
Thank
and
you.
what's your name, pronouns? I think I know you.
I'm Forrest, he, him from New Hampshire. My question of clarification is on how we're voting and on what specifically. And I am deeply uncomfortable with so many of my comrades
What is your clarifying
being
question,
uncomfortable with Borda, and we could go with single transfer instead. Would I vote yes on single transfer as a vote for democracy?
Hold on, everyone. It'll be fine. Okay, so so I will get to your question in a second. First, let's end debate, and then I will repeat what voting yes and voting no means. Is that okay?
Hi, Veronica, she, her, Pioneer Valley. Just a reminder that in Robert's rules, you can't ask a clarifying question. It has to be a point of information, and that has to be factual. Like, Freudian slip. You have to be asking a specific question that can be answered by the chair. You cannot be asking these more intellectual questions.
Yes.
Thank you.
So right now...
Point of personal privilege?
Yes.
I just want to point out that a lot of people have been very disrespectful to our chair, and it's been kind of racist and sexist. I'd really like that to stop. It is very difficult to chair a convention with 1,000 people in here. Beth, you're doing an excellent job, so please be mindful of that. Thank you. Ashley East Bay.
Okay, so right now, there has been a motion to end debate. There has been a second. This requires 2/3 vote to end debate. All those in favor of ending debate, raise your placards. All those opposed to ending debate, please raise your placards. Could I see that again? Okay, everyone who wants to end debate, please raise your placards. Hold on. All those opposed, please raise your placards. That looks like I would call for division on that.
Hi, I am Andy P. From Los Angeles, they, them pronouns. Could I please ask the chair to, again, there was a previous point of privilege about waving around signs, that it is distracting to other comrades. I have autism. This is distracting to me. I would like to ask our fellow delegates, please, to not wave around your signs, especially during voting.
This is Chris, he, him from Cleveland. We have not approved any rules to use an online voting system. Robert's rules does not allow online voting unless we approve a rule to do so. Is that correct?
Okay, so hold on. Okay, so it is very difficult to count your hands. So what I would recommend is to suspend the rules by 2/3 to use online voting in this one instance before we approve the rules. Is there a motion to suspend the rules? So moved. Is there a second? All those in favor of suspending the rules to use this online voting this one time before we approve the rules? Great. All those opposed? Okay, so let's use this online voting system right now. Yes, what's your point of order?
Yes. I would like to move to suspend the rules that we not do counts, we not divide the House on procedural motions. We are wasting more time than if we would have had discussions. Let the chair simply use her best judgment on what the vote was and either go on with the debate or not waste our time doing this.
Okay, so while we're, could we just try this one more time? All those in favor, and can we do another vote on calling the question? Please raise your placards. And all opposed? I think...
Goodness. I can't call it.
Okay, we might have to use the online voting system.
Madam Chair, could I take a moment just to consult with our staff to see if we could get volunteers to count?
Yes, actually, okay, that's a good call. So, how many could I get counters to the front?
Point of personal privilege, please.
Yes, what's your personal privilege?
Hi, so I know that this is kind of annoying. I know it's taking a while, but we want this to be done right. We are a democratic organization. We want to do this right. I myself watched some of the counters not count some of the votes. And it may have been a mistake, but maybe we need to do this a different way. Maybe we need to have more time to talk about this. I just want this to be done right. Yeah. I want every vote to be done right, not just this one, obviously.
I do too. Okay, so if you're standing up, could you please sit down? Okay, in case anyone doesn't remember what we're voting on. We are voting on an amendment to the convention rules to strike ranked choice and replace that with single transferable vote. Okay, I just heard a report that the electronic voting will be fixed after lunch.
I have a point of information for the vote counters. Do they want us to put our placards down after they make that eye contact?
Yes, that is correct. So once a counter makes eye contact with you, verbally affirms, body language affirms, you should put your placard down. All the counting has happened by a vote of 523 to 443. That passes. And so we will, sorry, if we could respect our comrades. Okay, so that passes, and so the convention rules, as at least right now, as amended, will strike ranked choice voting and replace that with single transferable vote. And so now we are moving back to the original motion, which is about the convention rules as a whole. Yes, you're recognized. Name, chapter, pronouns, please. Please.
Dag, he, him, from Eugene, Oregon. I move to amend the proposed rules to add debate on resolutions and constitution and bylaws changes shall be limited to 2 speakers in favor and 2 opposed, and debate on amendments to those proposals shall be limited to 1 in favor and 1 opposed. Well, we're already behind schedule, and I really want to get through as much as we can.
Thank you. I'm Trey, they, them. I'm from Memphis. I'm rising to speak against...
You got to get closer to the mic.
I'm rising to speak against this amendment to the rules, as it would inhibit the democracy that is inherent to our organization. If you look at it, most of the time that has been wasted in this body was not wasted on debate. It was wasted in vote after vote after vote and voting on whether we're going to vote on voting. It is ridiculous, and this resolution would not save us any time, because I mean, again, we have not wasted much time on debate. So I just hope that we could vote for democracy and vote against the amendment.
When we're raising our placards, when we transition between the votes, can we slow down a little bit, because it's starting to get confusing for people? Thank you.
Totally. Yep. It would be in order for someone to motion for a recess so that we could go get lunch, which was supposed to start at 1 anyway. Thank you. Is anyone opposed? Okay, great. Thank you. Nice job. That was lit. I believe the gluten-free options were fixed in advance, so if you're not gluten-free, please don't take gluten-free food from someone who registered in advance for it.
Look at the people around you and tell everyone around you, I've got your back. All right, once more time. I've got your back. I've got your back. I've got your back. I've got your back. I've got your back.
Point of information. Speak against. I want to raise a couple points. The first one is that I agree that because things don't take effect until the MPC approves the minutes, that if CB 29 is later approved, that it would, go into effect, and so it would be moot. I think the bigger point is that we shouldn't be changing the agenda, at this point after we've already been fighting about rules all day for something that doesn't even matter, and we don't even know if it would matter, because we don't know if Pass the Hat will get 60% or not. And I think that if it's going to apply either way, let's first see if Pass the Hat gets 60% on the normal agenda. If we're going to change the agenda, we should be getting to things that we really need to get on, that have not been gotten on the agenda, that are way more important than this. Let's not waste more time with this. Please vote this down, and then let's go and see later on, does Pass the Hat even pass at all? And then if there is a voting threshold issue, when we vote on CB 29, that'll take care of things. So please vote this down, everybody. Let's not waste time on this. Point of information. I have no opinion either way, but I'm
Wait.
just...
sorry, I just didn't find you. Go ahead.
Sorry, Elijah, he, him, NYC. I don't yet have an opinion. I haven't thought about it. But shouldn't this be something that, if it applies immediately or not, be something that the chair decides and not debating back and forth?
I mean, the question on the floor is whether to amend the agenda. That's what we're debating, is whether to do the amendment for the agenda.
Right, but
not whether the merits of the arguments one way or the other are appropriate.
So, hi.
Go ahead.
My name's Elizabeth Morgan. I'm with DSA San Francisco. I'm often a parliamentarian for our chapter meetings. My understanding is that under Robert's rules, in order to call a question, you need to have the floor. How we interpret this locally to mean is that you wait in line along with everybody else who's waiting in line, and then when you're speaking, like everyone else, you can call the question. So far, a lot of people have shouted out calling the question, or run to the front of the mic and shouted call the question into the mic. I was wondering whether the chairs or the parliamentarian believe that's the way to do it, or whether we should have people wait in line to call the question.
Your point is well taken. I heard a call a question from the microphone back there.
Call the question.
Okay, heard another one. Take it as moved and seconded.
Thank you.
So the vote now is on whether to call a question on the amendment to the agenda. We earlier decided not to
appeal the decision of the chair.
There's nothing to appeal.
Appealing the chair's ruling that was a 2/3.
The motion on the floor is the agenda is amended. Point of personal privilege.
None of us heard The motion. We don't know what we were voting on.
We didn't hear it. Okay, the motion on the floor was to approve the agenda.
The agenda as amended?
Yes, and the motion passed overwhelmingly.
I have a motion.
So, is this a question?
I have a motion.
There is nothing on the floor at this point. What's your question?
I have a motion.
Yes.
I motion to amend the agenda.
That's out of order. We've already passed the agenda.
We can amend. I motion to reconsider that
Okay.
vote.
You can propose to amend the agenda. It would require 2/3 to amend at this point. So what's your motion?
You guys have other? Go ahead.
The motion is.
I have a point of order.
Yes. A motion to reconsider can only be made by someone who voted with a majority. Okay? A motion to change the agenda at this point would require 2/3.
I have a point of order.
Point of order? Go
Laura
ahead.
Shee, Portland, Oregon. I think the ruling on adopting the agenda was improper because many of the voters couldn't hear what was being voted on, and I personally did not hear the chair call for votes in the negative. So I think we need to redo that vote.
My point of parliamentary inquiry is I want to understand what happened. Did the chair declare that a motion passed, and then the chair declared that we would re-vote on the motion, and and then the chair said that debate was open again? Is that what happened?
The chair understood that people on this part of the room could not hear when the vote was called.
Peter Gowan, Metro DC, he or they pronouns. I think that we have voted on the prioritization of motions in a poll before the convention. Everyone has already done this. Everyone got their chance to vote on this. And we have an agenda that was created out of that process. And now people are trying to sort of pick and choose and add things onto it, which is probably going to bump things that people voted that are important motions off the agenda. We've already gone way over time. So I'd like to call the question and close this debate.
We are now back to the agenda, adoption of the agenda.
I have a motion to amend the agenda.
Call the question.
Your motion?
On behalf of the Richmond DSA chapter, I'd like to make a motion to move CB2 ahead of CB29 on the agenda.
The point of order?
Chris, he, him, Seattle. This motion is dilatory. We already voted on this.
Point of personal privilege.
Point of personal privilege.
I would like to remind the delegates of our community agreement to not clap or hiss, please. It is extremely distracting. I am glad everyone is so excited to do socialism, but remember, for accessibility purposes, thank you.
Point of personal privilege, yes.
There was just, earlier there was a mic also on that side, and I was wondering...
It's moved up here.
Oh, thank you so much.
Michael Leidy, he, him, East Bay DSA. I am so damn proud to be a part of this Medicare for All campaign.
I call for the orders of the day.
Oops, sorry.
I'm sorry, this is an interruptible motion. I call for the orders of the day. Under the agenda we just adopted, we're in a debate block on resolutions between the scheduled hours of 3 and 4 p.m. It's beginning at 3 p.m.
It is possible, if people want to, that the chair could entertain a motion to amend the agenda to follow the order, but not the timings.
Brendan Davison, Kansas City, he, him. I motion to do what you just said.
The motion on the floor is to overrule the call for the orders of the day. Is there a second? Okay. No discussion. And it's a 2/3 vote. So if you vote yes on this motion, that means that we will continue with the agenda in order, but not according to the times on the agenda.
Point of order. What are we being asked to adopt?
We're being asked to adopt the report from the Medicare for All Committee.
Point of parliamentary inquiry.
The recommendations.
Point of parliamentary inquiry. Is the Medicare for All campaign able to put forward a binding report, or would this be a non-binding report, given that the body has not had a chance to review what's in there?
Would this be the time to try to pull something out of the consent agenda, or would that be
Yes.
later? Yes. Okay. I would like to pull, I think it's resolution 30. Where's that? Maybe it's up there somewhere. It's the blacklist resolution.
Are you referring to the NGHO to maintain list of members expelled?
Yes.
Okay.
And the problem with that is there many people have been expelled from locals for political reasons.
Point of order.
Okay.
Before you go on,
I'd like to move.
The motion has been made to remove Resolution 30, NGHO to maintain a list of members expelled. My understanding of the parliamentarian is that because of the nature of a consent agenda, the fact that a member requested that an item be removed, that it automatically comes off the consent agenda.
Point of order.
Motion to suspend the rules and return it to the consent agenda.
Okay. So the motion is to return that item, Resolution 30, to the consent agenda.
A point of personal privilege.
Yes.
My point of order has been ignored thus far. My point of order was that we were in the process of calling the question on the consent agenda when somebody was trying to pull an item. And I believe that member was out of order.
Could I actually make a motion to suspend the rules and pass every single motion on the consent agenda in one vote?
I'd like to make a motion that we fix time for adjournment.
I presume you mean for recess until tomorrow?
No, for adjourning at 7 instead of 5.
For this session. You're
this
not
session.
talking about adjourning the convention.
No, said fixed time. No.
Okay. We're talking about we're talking about recessing until tomorrow, that you're moving to recess at 7 instead of 5.
That's correct.
Okay.
Madam Chair, can I ask a question?
Yes.
Sorry, I'm to your left. It's me, Natalie. Hello.
Hello. Can you give your name, chapter, and so on? Natalie.
What happens to our breakout groups that were scheduled at 5?
Yeah, right. Okay, so the question is, what happens to the breakouts that were scheduled at 5? They would presumably either happen at 7 or not happen at all.
Max, Boston, he, him, his. I make a motion to reschedule the breakout sessions to 7:30 p.m.
Okay, the motion is to reschedule the breakout sessions to 7:30. Is there a second? Okay. Are we ready to vote?
I withdraw my motion.
Motion has been withdrawn. The chair will allow it to be withdrawn. I have a speaker over here.
I would like, Kobe, they, them, from Pittsburgh. I would like to motion that we have 2 breakout sections, and I would propose that the first set go from 7 to 8, and the second set go from 8 to 9. That way that we have both, and they are able to continue.
Yes.
Is this a motion to amend the agenda? What is this?
Yes, it is.
Require 2/3 vote.
And it will require a 2/3 vote. Do we have a speaker here?
I have a point of information, actually. So we also at this.
Please identify yourself.
Rachel. Hi, I'm from here. I'm Madsa. She, they. As a point of information, we also have like the social scheduled at the same time. So we have like a lot of things that are going to be completely thrown off schedule if we continue to do this. So if there's somebody who voted yes on this who might be willing to reconsider, I would invite you to do so.
The next item on the agenda is Resolution 34.
Point of order.
We have a question here.
Yeah, point of order. Was not the original motion to extend the debate until 7 p.m., was that not a change of the agenda that required a 2/3 majority?
Hi, my name is Elizabeth Morgan. I use she and her. I'm from DSA San Francisco. I'm strongly in favor of the Green New Deal resolution and also this amendment. And I urge all the delegates here to vote yes on it. And so I'd like to end debate on this question.
Next item on the agenda is
Madam Chair, I'd like to make a motion to reconsider the 2-hour extension of debate. I'm horribly sorry to do this. I voted for.
It's not in order right now.
We're make the motion, but it'll have to be processed later.
You can move to reconsider, but we'll have to deal with it after we've dealt with this resolution.
Alec Eskelson, he, him, Kansas City DSA. I would like to understand how the chair intends to recognize motions as distinct from speeches. I think twice it's occurred, I don't want to assume ill will my comrades, but I think twice it's occurred that speeches were recognized who finished their speeches with a call or a motion of some kind. Are we considering it okay to finish, having been recognized for a speech, to finish with a motion, especially for...
This is a valid point. So the next item...
Point of privilege, I'm so sorry.
Yes?
Okay, we have it up now, but Evan Kolosna, he, him, Asheville, North Carolina. We have it up now, but could I just ask that for all future amendments, we have it up on the screen, possibly alongside the resolution in question. We just debated on something that wasn't on the screen. That was kind of weird.
We'll see what we can do.
Thank you.
Speaker against Amendment 3?
Point of privilege. I'm Daniel Ray from Piedmont, NC, he, him. There's some chatter in the back that's getting a little bit distracting. I'd like to ask for comrades to, keep it down a little bit.
Yeah. Hi, folks. My name is Sean. I use they, them pronouns, and I'm from Chicago. Given the speed at which this debate is moving, and like the lack of focus on political priorities and the inward focus on procedural stuff that is happening, we have a lot to focus on right now, and a lot of organizing that needs to be done in order to actually build power.
So is there a motion to further amend the agenda?
Motion to the agenda. Yeah.
Okay. And
Alexander Hernandez, he, him, Metro Atlanta.
And how would you like to amend the agenda? To go back
to the original...
To the original recess at 5 o'clock?
Yes.
Okay, so the motion on the floor is to suspend the rules to return
and
to
I'll just say real quickly...
The motion on the floor is to suspend the rules in order to return to the original recess time of 5 o'clock
5:30
for the
if we
General
could.
Assembly. Is there a second to that motion?
Second.
Okay.
If I could just clarify, 5:30 because of that break.
5:30.
And also just want to add, again, all the planning that went into before we all showed up today, I think we should really respect what folks put into it and go back to the original time. Thank you.
Jessica from Silicon Valley. Actually, just maybe it's a clarification, but if we do this, what happens to all the stuff we were supposed to talk about today? Because we don't have extra time. What do we do?
Natalie will...
So there's a couple things. So first, as I understand it, the speaker here has made a motion to change the time of our adjournment for the day to 5:30, which would mean we would immediately head into the first round of breakout groups, which were scheduled for 5:30. So they'd start a little late.
So would that coming back to, sorry everybody, would that coming back to it be after the breakouts then?
No, so
yeah, I'm just wondering like what happened. Are we just going to start tomorrow?
We
with
would
this?
return to debate at the regularly scheduled debate block tomorrow, which is at 11 a.m. tomorrow, but we wouldn't pick up with what was originally scheduled at that time. We would pick up where we left off in the agenda. Unless someone made a different motion.
Point of information.
Point of information, yes.
Are there people who flew in from around the country or around the world specifically to participate in these workshops who would have to go home without having had the chance to speak if we override them on the schedule?
It appears that the answer is yes.
Thank you.
Okay. So the motion on the floor is to suspend the rules, to revert to original recess time of 5 or 5:30, at which point we'd go into the breakouts for this evening, and then return to our agenda tomorrow morning. The item on the agenda next is Resolution 82, which has one amendment, number 9.
I have an idea. Can I make a motion to suspend the rules
to
You speak in, you say your
amend the
name.
agenda. LaDawn Steuben from Phoenix. To replace the plenary tomorrow morning, that's an hour and a half with debate, so we have an extra hour and a half.
All of those in favor of suspending the rules to adjust.
Point of information.
Yes.
How many came here to democratically debate and pass constitutional and bylaw changes?
I'm sorry. This is not a point of information. This is a point of debate. This motion is not debatable. This motion is not debatable. So the motion is to suspend the rules so that tomorrow, in place of the plenary as described, we would have additional debate time. Next item on the agenda.
I would,
yes.
Sarah, she, her, Columbus. I'm not sure if this is just a motion or I'm not sure what kind of motion this is, but I would like to break at 5:15 instead of 5:30, so we have some time before the. No, okay, cool. I withdraw.
Chair is going to rule it out of order.
I've got a point of privilege.
Yes, go ahead.
I just wanted to ask in a comradely spirit that we think about community agreements and whether we're following them. Things like why am I talking and step up and step back. And there are demographics that are talking more than other demographics, such as white guys, such as myself. So think about whether you're making space for voices of groups that don't get to talk much and are not represented well. Thank you.
Thank you.
Parliamentary inquiry. This is Daniel Ray from NC Piedmont, he, him. I'd just like a question on if there's a kind, is there a system as to who gets to speak first at the mic, for example? If someone wants to call the question or someone wants to speak in opposition of, is there a first come, first serve?
It's basically first come, first serve.
Can we let a woman say something about this? That would be great. Not just men, not just men talking about this.
Before, if we could have a little order here, if we want additional speakers, then the question has been called. Vote against the question.